Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the From the 50 podcast. This is our midweek show edition. I am your host, Zach Zook, alongside Nick Tolley, Nick Yale out in Reno, TJ Weber in his home studio. We are brought to you by Book It Sports, and it's another week of football. It is football on a hump day, and I'm not talking about Maction. How we doing, boys?
Doing well, Mr. Zook. Doing well. How you doing? How was your Sunday?
I mean, it was sweet. Like it was my birthday. You know, the Packers
Philip Rivers
bent
him over and showed him the 50.
Yeah, he definitely did that. So it had all the highs, it had all the lows, and now I have to be punished.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I tell you what, we only went 3-4, so
we all won the crown though.
I had a good shot at going 6-1, and I ended up 3-4. So I'm not happy.
I should have gone 7-0.
Yeah, no, I fully deserve this punishment. I mean, I need to quit fucking around with the dogs. I keep taking crazy teams. I think 2 weeks ago I took a crazy team. And then this week I took the Kendall Hinton-led Broncos, which was not you could just chalk that up to bad life choices, I think.
Yeah, that's on you. I mean, I got just absolutely fucked by good old Doug Peterson, not Doug Marrone. On that 2-point conversion.
Well, you've been fucked by Doug Marrone plenty of times.
Doug Marrone took shrapnel out of nowhere. Nick texted the group and he goes, "I fucking hate Doug Marrone." I'm like, "What do he have to do with it?" And he's like, "Oh, Doug Peterson, sorry." So poor guy got just wrecked for no reason.
Why the hell are we going for two? Why the hell are we going for two? Trying to cover the spread there? What the fuck? Get out of here.
Yeah. Why
Come
not?
on, man.
Bring Doug Marrone back to Syracuse.
Yeah, just Doug Marrone, Doug Peterson, fire them all. Everybody's vying for their job now after, even Matt Patricia got taken down by the Lions.
Can I fire off like a spicy take right off the top of the show?
I love
here?
Spicy takes. So, Zook, you are the king of spicy takes. You know that.
It is habanero hot. And here's my spicy take. I don't think Doug Marrone really deserves to be fired, does he? He led Blake Bortles in that team. He led the Jacksonville Jaguars to the AFC Championship like 3 years ago. And the roster is...
years ago? Was that recent? Really?
Yeah, I was working at KFNS at the time, so it
was around then. And they should have, honestly, I mean, Tolley I'm sure remembers the game, but Tolley, they were a couple of calls go the other way, and they would have made the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was close.
So, and the rosters have just been so bad since. I really feel like Doug Marrone is actually a decent coach. I'm not saying he's like the great coach, but I think he's better than all the other twats getting fired.
He did a great job in Buffalo. They didn't even fire him in Buffalo. He chose to leave because of the sale of the team, but he did a great job there.
Yeah, I mean, he's got Minshew Mania there. He's got Mike Glennon, and he's got some good weapons at quarterback. That'd
be an interesting article to write, like deep dive into like the personnel that has been forced on Doug Marrone. While Dave Caldwell, I actually did write an article about the rise and fall of the Jags. You can read that on bruiseonthebalcony.com. But I talked about Dave Caldwell, the GM that they let go last week, has like survived just terrible year after terrible year after terrible draft pick after terrible draft pick. So I don't know. I let Doug Marrone coach my team. Seems like a fun guy too.
Yeah, but you don't get paid to be fun, Zook. You get paid to win football games. So
well,
I don't know.
Well, when you're dealt Gardner Minshew, Jake Luton, and Mike Glennon,
Jake Luton.
I don't know if Bill could win with those guys.
Breaking news! Rockets agree to trade Russell Westbrook to the Wizards for John Wall.
Oh, the hot stove is heating up too. I about texted the group and said I had can't wait to talk baseball on the show tonight.
Yeah, I know.
I was seeing the hot stove stuff, and I was like, oh boy.
Of course, we break away from Bruise on the Balcony so we can focus on football. Yeah. Just to talk about baseball.
Just talk about baseball, golf, basketball.
You get a little bit of everything on this program.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the Steelers-Ravens game that just concluded not too long ago. Did you guys pop it on at work at all?
Oh yeah, I had it on. Fuck the Ravens.
No, I love the Ravens, baby. Hey, I've been screwed by I've gone after public money for the last 2 weeks, and I always lost. And now all of a sudden I went against public money.
Fade the public every time.
It's insane. It's a late cover. McSorley throws, a 65, 70-yard bomb to Marquise Brown, who finally scores a touchdown when I drop him for my fantasy team. I mean, you just love to see that late cover, Nick.
I mean, I still got it at 4.5 on CBS earlier in the week from all that bullshit before all the COVID happened. So I am now your king in the overall standings with 11 out of 16 games picked correctly against the spread this week.
Wow. That's overall.
That's sharp. That's sharp, baby. That's sharp. 97 overall, though. 9 last week. So I'm on a heater, but not in our league. Only 3 and 4 in our league.
I think you're tied for the. You're only 3 and 4, Nick.
For those games were.
I thought you were better
all
than
my
me,
losses.
So we would have been tied again, but
yeah, no. I'm one back of you right now.
Yeah. It's okay. Well, I'll just go 1-6 next weekend. That's the way we're kind of trending right now.
Is that 2 losses? Oh no, I lost 2 weeks ago. That's what it was.
Yeah,
you didn't lose 2 weeks in a row.
No.
Regarding the Ravens Steelers game, can you guys just answer me one question? Why did Trace McSorley not start the football game?
Because Robert Griffin III is the veteran. I mean, that's why they were going to put him in there regardless. And
knows the offense.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to hear a story about Robert Griffin from Colby? Listener Colby met Robert Griffin III.
How'd that interaction go?
So he sees him at the airport, and this is, I don't know, we were still in college. This was a while ago. But he must have been playing for the Washington football team, formerly known as the R-Words.
Mm-hmm.
And he sees him in the airport, and I think he was alone. So he actually had the guts to go up to him. I would have never probably had the balls to go up to a celeb, but he went up to him and he's like, "Hey, are you RG3 or RG3? Nice to meet you," or something like that. And he just said that basically RG3 held his hand out and was just introduced himself like Robert.
Robert.
Hi, Robert.
Yeah, Robert, nice to meet you.
I'm Rob.
I don't think he likes the RG3 thing. He likes to be called Robert.
But
I'm Rob Griffin.
His Twitter handle's at RG3.
Maybe he's come around on it then. But I thought it was funny how he went up to him and was like, RG3, nice to meet you, dude. How's it going? I think he's going to visit his girlfriend's family or something.
Robert,
around Thanksgiving, and he's just Robert. Nice to meet you.
Robert. Nice to meet you. It's hi, I'm Anthony Weber. Good to meet you. It's the same thing as that.
I think you should start going by Bob.
Anthony.
Bobby Griffin.
Did Big Web ever call you Anthony when he was mad at you, TJ, growing up?
No.
God damn it, Anthony.
My mom would give me, so my name's so damn long, my mom would be like, Anthony James Weber Jr., what he done? Like that. But it would be she'd be out of breath by the time she yells at me, and I wouldn't even get in trouble. She's like, okay.
Yeah.
She's like, what was I mad about?
That's funny. I honestly forget that your full name is Anthony. It doesn't even register with me.
So everybody's like, what does TJ stand for? And I go, well, I've heard that since I was 2.
I know it's the voice that got me.
Thomas James.
They're like, what? Why TJ? And I go, oh, it's Tony Jr. Oh, Tony. So why don't you just go by Tony? Well, my dad's name's Tony. He wanted to make me a junior. What's your middle name? James. Oh, so you could have been AJ then. I didn't name me. My parents did. Sorry about you. I like my name. Shit. My bad. People get so frustrated.
So maybe you could educate me. Is TJ and AJ always the same legal name usually?
Yeah, everything legal says Anthony Weber. Signature, Anthony J. Weber. But TJ Weber.
So obviously I know TJ's and I also know AJ's, and I'm wondering, are they also Anthony James? They're all Anthony James. It's an army of Anthony James.
Oh, you're saying all AJ's are Anthony James? Well, maybe.
Well, I'm wondering. Because
it's a lot of middle names. Usually, technically, if you go by the way people are usually have the 2-letter names, it's first and middle name. AJ would be mine. TJ's Tony Jr. I got a cooler name. I hate the name AJ, so I'm glad that I was not one.
I grew up down the street from a guy named JT, and that is a rough one.
Man, people are tuning in for football, and we're getting AJ and TJ comparisons.
Yeah, and
get back on track.
Nick's upset because we got a lot of Periscope viewers at one point. Nick's mad because we talked about
that. Puts a bow on that. Nick Yale says, "All right, I like that. Amazing transition." So let's recap Week 12, guys. I did some homework and I got some topics for us, and I hate to be that guy, but a lot of these, it's going to be a lot of shit talking because Sunday was a bit of an abomination in terms of football. It's more embarrassment than good, I think. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is Doug Peterson, and I think it's appropriate that he leads our show in terms of the recap of Week 12 because, boy, oh boy, on Monday night, did he ever struggle. And I know he won the Super Bowl, and I know he took the Eagles to the first Super Bowl in the history of the franchise, but at what point is it just like, what have you done for me lately? I mean, I try to see things from the aerial view and not become a prisoner of the moment. But when I watch them play, it's like going for two constantly and just being weirdly aggressive. And what I wrote down in my note was Doug Peterson isn't aggressive. He's stupid. That's literally what I wrote down for the topic. Like, I don't understand what has happened to that team and the way the front office has just botched pick after pick after pick after pick since like the 2016 draft is something that I think that's a stat that like Levy and Garisi were rattling off on the broadcast. The draft picks are awful. The quarterback's playing bad. They have no personnel. And Doug, like, just he can't adapt at all. His offense looks disgusting. So I want your guys' take on it. Like, is it Carson's fault? Is it like how much of this falls on Doug? And at what point do you maybe consider making a coaching change? Because I don't think you can do anything about Carson at this point.
No,
and I have more faith in Carson long term than I do Doug. Because he's at least been an MVP candidate, and I don't know.
Carson, for as many interceptions as he's thrown this year, is not a bad quarterback, and that you might say that's a hot take, whatever. But Carson Wentz, with a good offensive line, I think can actually perform, but he just has no help. He's sacked more than any quarterback in the league. Injuries are already an issue. They have been in years past, so that's always going to be a concern. But when Carson Wentz is clicking, he's actually a pretty good quarterback, but you have to build protection around him. You have to help him out there a little bit with the play calling. Sure, he has to execute those plays, but Carson Wentz, to me, is not the issue there in Philadelphia. Currently, he will carry all the blame because he's the quarterback, and that's what happens. And you might ask, especially this past week, why not try out Jalen Hurts a little bit more? Maybe even try Jalen Hurts next week. You spent a second-round draft pick on him. Why is he sitting on the bench? He only got one snap in this past game. So I think that's where most of the fan base in Philadelphia and NFL fans as a whole are like, why not try out Jalen Hurts, at least give him that shot to play since Carson is throwing all these picks. But I don't think Jalen Hurts is doing any better. It comes down to the play calling, and I think they said they're going to switch play callers there. Peterson's going to give up the play calling duties, but it really starts that offensive line. Without a good offensive line, you can't do shit.
Yeah, it's I think it's a combo of everything. I mean, their offensive line has been brutal this year. They can't get the run game going. They've had injuries to their receivers. They don't really have a standout guy there. They've had Greg Ward stepping up at times. They've had Jalen Reagor step up at times, but they don't have a consistent guy like Alshon Jeffrey used to be. Zach Ertz has been hurt all year, so you got a lot of issues on that offense. But it's the line. I mean, if you watch every game the Eagles have had this year, Carson does not look good. He's been throwing balls up for grabs. He's been, really not what he used to be, but he's got no protection. I mean, that dude is running for his life every single snap, all over the place, not able to play the way he did his rookie season. And I feel bad for the guy because, again, the one thing he did right was put his team in a good position to win the Super Bowl, but he didn't even win the Super Bowl. I mean, he's forever going to be the guy who got them to the playoffs, and that was it.
Yeah.
And that's got to be so shitty to have that on your back forever. So if anybody's going to be pumped up to like go win another one, it's Carson Wentz. Unfortunately, they just don't have everything really just there.
I just love that Twitter handle. No Avi, and it's TWeb 201942132. Like all the other numbers were already taken. What the hell?
Put Hurts at quarterback and Wentz at right guard. I love that.
I think part of what hurts them though is that play calling and their personnel that they choose to use. Travis Fulgham was leading the NFL in receiving yards through like 4-week period.
Where is he disappeared?
They just got rid of him off the field to put Alshon Jeffrey out there this week.
He's playing around on his Bookit burner account, which he does have, by the way.
And they also you don't roll Carson Wentz out of the pocket at all. The one play that they did that this past week, he had like an 18-yard completion. Like if your offensive line can't protect him, then get him out of there and let him create something.
He's a big dude too. Like he can, on quarterback sneaks. I mean, he can lay the boom, and that's probably why he's been injured quite a bit because he just kind of throws his body out there and has no regard for human life. But he's a big dude. I mean, let him scramble a little bit. Let's work in something else rather than just having him stand in the pocket like you said, and the left tackle or the right guard just blow it, and all of a sudden he's on his ass 10 times a game.
So would you guys fire Doug after this year? Or just run it back? Like they've sucked now for how I don't know.
I think you change the play caller.
Yeah, but he's safe. I mean, he just won a Super Bowl. You know, you got a couple more years out of him. If they tank the next 2 years and he stays with Carson, like I think Carson gets one more season, like full starting quarterback.
You got to get help though on the line.
Oh yeah, and I think they need a couple more weapons. Zach Ertz needs to be healthy. So, but what's going to happen is like they're putting Jalen Hurts there to put pressure on Carson. That's what's happening, and Carson knows that. Wentz knows that.
Jalen's not a starting NFL quarterback. Jalen Hurts is not Kyler. He's not Kyler Murray.
Yeah, but Carson doesn't.
Kyler Murray.
It doesn't matter though. They're doing that to have a backup. They've never had
a
backup before,
like Nick
Foles. I'm saying that they're now getting shit from the fan base saying like, look, we won a Super Bowl. We know we have talent here, but Carson Wentz might not be the guy. It's the first time they've said that because he's sucked the last 2 years. So now we find out next season if he is the guy or not. He's at 15 interceptions through 12 games. I mean, he's the worst quarterback in the NFL at this moment.
Yeah,
but the thing is, you put him with a good offensive line. Is he the same? I don't fucking know. I don't know.
I think he's a top 10 quarterback. And like, I don't know. I think it's hard. It's hard for me to get out of my brain that MVP year he had up until the point where he tore his ACL. Like I've literally watched him do it. I know he has the ability to do it. What do you think? He just forgot how to play quarterback? I think he's formed some bad habits. And the biggest thing I notice when I watch him is his accuracy is just terrible. It is abysmal. And I think a lot of that has to do with he's afraid to get hit because the pocket is so bad that even when it's clean, it's still affecting him because he's just waiting to get smoked. So I don't think it's his problem at all, but I'm starting to, I still like do respect the ring. I thought that Peterson did an excellent coaching job, particularly in the Super Bowl game, how aggressive he was, because that's what they had to do to beat that Pats team. That Pats team was so good. And he knew he had to take chances and convert on a couple of them if he was going to win. And he did. And he hit on every single one of them. And I don't know if maybe that's like made him more big-headed or like enabled himself in his own mind. Like, oh, I can just do this every time because that's just going to be my philosophy. Because now it's just he's jumped the shark completely with the going for two, the play calling, like it's just so weird. And I'm just starting to shift from thinking he's a good coach to thinking like maybe, Frank Reich, who's now the head coach of the Colts, who was the OC, and John DeFilippo, who was the QB coach, then went to Minnesota. Now he's in Jacksonville. Maybe they had more to do with that offense than Doug did.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and that's why I think the change of the play call for Carson could be good. It's not like they haven't been in these ball games. They're in every one of these games. Their defense certainly is giving up some points, but that's probably more attributed to those turnovers that Carson Wentz is committing. But so if you take those turnovers, if you take all those bad interceptions out of it, then all of a sudden you start winning these football games. And sure, is that a timing issue with Carson? Maybe, but when they're playing from behind in these games, they're going to be throwing the ball. They missed Miles Sanders most of the year. And certainly with the bad offensive line, he's not going to get as involved.
Didn't they give him like 6 carries or some shit like that in that game?
You have a running back that is probably
what the fuck are you doing,
top 15 running back in the league, top 10 when healthy and behind a good offensive
Boston
line.
Scott.
It's been the other injuries. You don't have the Deshaun Jackson. You don't have a healthy Zach Ertz all season. Him and Goddard both back now. But, when healthy and with a good offensive line, this team is the Super Bowl team that they won a Super Bowl. They've already proved it, but they need to be in these games and not be playing from behind. And it probably starts with the play calling and then secondary on the offensive line.
See, I think we can shit on Doug too, but I think the whole front office is to blame. Everybody I get talked about. I feel like I get talked about how I get told all the time how great of an organization Philly is. I'm starting not to see it. Like Howie Roseman drafted Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson this year.
Yeah, that was bad.
They have just had draft bust after draft bust after draft bust.
Yeah,
J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. I heard he was supposed to be really good too. Where the hell is that guy?
They took him over DK.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly.
Why are you
Alex Goddard? Sweet. What? You already have Ertz.
Why are you spending a first round pick on Jalen Reagor when you should be drafting an offensive lineman like that?
And they should have cut Jeffrey 2 seasons ago.
Jeffrey's been done for a few years. It's been bad.
I just am I see Carson get slandered every Sunday, and I just am starting to think that Doug is kind of a bit of a dodo brain, and I think that the front office is bad too. So I used to really, 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 really respect them, and I'm just starting to go the other way. And Monday night kind of was like a turning point for me. I just am starting to think that the guys that left had a lot more to do with their success than the guys that are still there. So I know we already talked about the Ravens Steelers, but I want to approach it from a different angle, more from like the COVID side, because they kept moving that game and they did not move the Broncos game. And I thought that it was a bit ridiculous the way they handled it. And I know life's not fair, and I know the NFL is not fair, and I don't think that it necessarily needs to be fair. Like, that is life, right? It's not going to be there's no way to make it inherently fair for everybody. But I thought that basically the Broncos got shafted because they followed the rules. They had their quarterback room catch it. Now, I know that there was a story about, I guess the quarterbacks weren't wearing masks in a meeting, and that's why they were all deemed inactive or whatever.
Yep.
But the NFL said they're not going to postpone a game for strategic regions, and the reason that the Baltimore game was postponed because the outbreak was under control. So you mean to tell me basically what the Broncos need to do is just have Jeff Driscoll go sneeze on the offensive line and then make his way over to the defensive meeting and sneeze on those guys, and they could have postponed the game? Like, that just is such the wrong idea. Like, basically the Ravens caught a break for being idiots because they just got the game push back, and then they got to play.
Yeah, you see why the NFL they had to get this game in because the Broncos would have tore them a new one. If you postpone Ravens and Steelers to a week 18, make it work that way, but you made Denver play with no quarterbacks, whatever happened, they would have been livid. I mean, it would have been
I think it's awful. Bullshit anyways. That's my whole point.
It is. Well, and it's just another issue of the NFL absolutely just completely fucking it up. And this is what I said back to my sentiments earlier in the season, because it seemed like they had been getting better about scheduling these games, but you absolutely throw Denver under the bus. Granted, they did it because it's
total bullshit. I don't care about the record. It's bullshit.
Yeah,
it's a free win to the Saints, who are competing for seeding and that number 1 seed right now. They're going to get it, and they just got a free win. Yeah.
Like, Denver only completed one pass in that game, and you can blame the quarterbacks, whatever, for not wearing masks. Everyone wants to point fingers in that situation, but you can't tell me that you should have had the protocols in place. The teams all should have already to have your practice squad quarterback, Blake Bortles, not be with the position group. Have him work remote as an emergency case. He can Zoom, whatever. I know it's not fair. I know it's hard, but at least you have a quarterback in that situation. So that's on the NFL for botching
I do agree with
you. And then absolutely just screwing Pittsburgh and from playing their game on Thursday, because these guys were worried that this game was going to get canceled. Ravens were going to forfeit. They're going to lose their money. But you just move it back. And
they moved it 6 days from the day that the game was supposed to be played.
Yeah. Part of that was the Ravens players talked about striking. They were going to strike if it was yesterday.
Because what were they concerned about, spreading it and getting it?
No, they were concerned about muscle tweaks and stuff because they hadn't been able to do anything all week.
Yeah, because they've been sitting down the whole time.
Yeah. But also, Buffalo, they've kept Jake Fromm separate from Josh Allen and their other quarterbacks all year.
Which is smart.
Josh Allen talked about it today in his press conference.
Yeah, so on that token, like, I did agree with Nick's point. Like, you should have had, it's kind of on you. You should have had one of them working remote. Like, you have unlimited practice squad space this year. Is that correct, Nick?
I think you have 14 spots.
Okay. Okay, but there's no like experience limits, which there normally is. Like, I think Josh McCown is on a practice squad. Yes. So because of that, like, you need to have one guy like Nick Yale, like you said, that is not with the team, is not in the quarterback room. I still though just thought that it was bullshit that they basically they could have postponed the Broncos game to Monday or Tuesday or even Wednesday.
Yeah, they could have. But
we're just going to keep sliding the Ravens back. And
it goes back to that one position group. They were able to get away with it with Denver because it's like, okay, it's the quarterbacks, and the Ravens, it was the whole team. So you couldn't really push it back. But yeah, McCown, I don't know if he was still on the roster. Basically, they told McCown before the season, all right, you're going to coach your high school football down in Texas. We'll call you if we need you, and we'll just pay you. Like he didn't have to show up to the games at all.
Coach, I wanted to see the coach play. I can't believe they didn't do that. Like the NFL is going to make you play.
No
like
fun league, baby. No fun league.
It's an entertainment business. At the end of the day, how many people would have watched that game if the quality control coach or whatever suited up and took some snaps under center?
100% he goes better than 1 for 9 or whatever it was.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Like there's no way.
You know what? Who else I have to talk some shit about in that game? You have zero expectations, right? As an offense, as the play caller, if you're Pat Shurmur, like what an opportunity to do like some crazy fun shit in that game. Like at least throw a couple screen passes, do a couple jet sweeps, do some double passes, do some rollouts, and like those little dump off passes on play action. They're all I could make that throw. Like, why didn't they do any of that? They just made Kendall Hinton like stand there and just chuck bombs.
Yeah,
like chuck bombs and roll out and throw it out of bounds.
They did a couple reverses, but other than that,
you might not know the playbook. I said scrap the playbook entirely, and you tell them go out there and play football. Just go out literally backyard style, go downfield, and I'll throw it to you. Or end around some bullshit. Like literally just drop the plays in the huddle. Like who cares?
I did a game for Pro Football Focus last night where Texas State was running RPOs and screen passes basically every down. Like, why couldn't Denver do that?
Well, they signed Pat Shurmur's son this week, so maybe they will now.
Yeah, true.
I don't know. I just like watched that. I was like, I understand like the offense sucks. Like that's not like my criticism. It's like it's so vanilla and boring to watch. Like you I know they didn't have a lot of time, but you could have drawn something up. I mean, done something to get in space.
Did you see Denver's tweet they had afterwards? Like,
what did they say?
I gotta find the exact one. It was something like, final score is what it is. Like anybody that wants to say bad things about our players, like, come on. Like, you know what I mean? Pretty much like we did what we could. I'm gonna find it real quick. But it was like
before the game. Let's just go have fun.
So they tweeted this out at 5:46 after the game. And they said there was a game today. The final score is what it is. Undrafted rookie wide receiver, all caps, Kendall Hinton came off the practice squad, had 0 practice reps, and competed in his first NFL game as the Broncos quarterback, in all caps. An unprecedented situation. He deserves all the respect.
Is this the Broncos?
Yes, and it got like 8,000 or 10,000 retweets. Basically, they're saying fuck off anybody saying that he sucks. He's a wide receiver. Like I would say the same thing.
I thought they should put the offensive lineman in at quarterback. That would be fun to see.
What about Rolls Royce too?
I want to see Von Miller.
They said he was the emergency QB.
Yeah,
I think he took some snaps. I don't think he ever threw the ball. But I think him and Phillip Lindsay were both running Wildcat, and they started with Phillip Lindsay at quarterback as their starting QB. And ran Wildcat and actually got a first down to start the game. So,
dude,
I was like, okay,
just for the longest yard memes. I just wanted it so bad just to see him like suiting up.
Hey, they should have put him down there in a red jersey. Say, as long as you touch him, he's down right there, and just let John Elway sling the rock.
There was some sort of rule that said that he actually couldn't. Like even if they wanted him to, even they wanted to try him, there was some like. Some rule about him being the owner where he couldn't play. I don't know what the rule was.
Right now, if John Elway with his black gloves went out into Mile High, how far do you think he could throw the football?
Still think he could chuck it 50.
25 yards?
45 yards.
I'd say 30.
Dude, I don't think you realize how long 45 yards is.
He's John Elway. He's still what? He's in his late
He's
60s?
old.
Late 60s?
He looks like he could not throw it.
Ooh, how old do you think John Elway is? Let's do a little.
That's a fun one.
Zook, what do you think?
I'm going to say 64 is what I'm.
Well, so in 97, he would have been in his 30s. So if you extrapolate that, I actually say he's got to be late 50s.
So you're going to say what? You got to come up with an even number or
57.
Not, or a number. 57. All right, Tally.
I'm going 64.
58.
Wow. I'm going to go ahead and say Price is
Bullshit,
right.
Nick. This is the Price is right.
60 years old.
All right.
He said even number. 40. You had to guess an even number.
Yeah. He throws at 40.
Oh, I thought you just meant like a number.
No, I meant a number. Yeah. I said even number, and I stopped myself. Like, no.
Gave it away.
Number. Yeah.
No, I gave it away.
60, I think at 60 years old, I think he can still throw 40 yards.
40 yards.
Yeah.
I don't know. You think he's listening to the pod here? Think he's on Twitter?
Something tells me he's not.
Yeah.
Oh, that's tough.
Well, I had another scenario. I'd seen this floated up, and we talked a lot about the Colts this year and how good that roster's been. GM Chris Ballard's done a really nice job. They get Phil Rivers to plug the gap.
What an easy bet that was.
He's okay, but I don't know. He's not that. I mean, they just got smashed by the Titans. He doesn't give them much. Like if the Colts aren't running the football, they really. It feels like they have to have kind of everything going right for Phil to get the dub. Like they have to have a great defense. They have to get the running game going, and then Phil can play well. So I still feel like they need a quarterback. The Lions are clearly cleaning house, and they have a quarterback over the age of 30 on the roster. They could probably get something for him because I think he's still a borderline top 10 quarterback. Would the Colts be – I think the Colts would definitely be interested in acquiring. Would Detroit be interested in going a different direction because they're going to get a pretty high pick this year and getting the next quarterback and punting on the last couple years of Stafford? And would the Colts then be interested in acquiring? And what do you think that compensation looks like?
Did you hear what the owner said? The owner said that they're willing to trade Matt Stafford. Like okay. Well,
that's great. That's probably why I saw it on
Twitter.
Not
exactly saying that. She's pretty much saying like they're ready for a reset. Like it's
Marth Vader.
Yeah,
it probably. I don't know if it was
as
expensive as 2 first-round picks, but I think a first and a second round for him. Because, like you said, he's
got to be happy with just a second. I think I'd give a second-round pick for him.
Just a second?
First round. Nah, I'm not giving a first-round pick to Stafford.
I don't know if the Colts have a first-round pick this year because they did that trade for DeForest Buckner.
Yeah, they traded their first round.
So actually, they're not going to give up even a second. They're not even going to give up a second for Stafford because you would never do that.
But you could give up a future first or something. And a third this year.
I think you have to at least give up a first. I think that's where the conversation starts. Just because,
really?
Yeah. I mean,
what's his age, though? You got to think about his age and what he makes.
Yeah, the contract, that's the big question. That was what was holding back them from trading him earlier, is that fat contract that he had. No team wants to take that on.
You're acquiring him. I'm about to look up his age.
So I want to be like
he's 32.
32.
She didn't say they were willing to trade. She said she was non-committal. So I didn't mean to say she.
I bet basically
they're open to the idea.
Listen, Brady's 40, and so I mean
43.
So I still think you could get probably 5 more years if Stafford can stay healthy.
I think you got 6 probably years of Stafford left because he'll be 38 then in 6 years. Rodgers just had his 37th birthday. So like if you think about it, he's 4 or 5 years behind Rodgers. But I also think about the absolute beating he's taken in Detroit.
Yeah, he has.
I don't think he's going to be one of those quarterbacks that ages well. He does make a decent amount of money. Nick, you're right. You probably would because he is a borderline top 10 quarterback. You probably would have to give up a first-round pick.
You're still saying 6 years. And again, that's, I think, where it starts. But maybe the question becomes just a first round, or maybe even if that first round goes down to second round on that contract. I don't know how much
I'd give you a first. Maybe it's a first round, and then if you wanted more, I'd give you like a late day 3 pick, but that'd probably be it. But the contract was big, but now with the salary cap up, it's actually not a bad deal for the Lions. I don't think. Does anybody have the numbers?
He's under contract for 3 more. Yeah, I've got it, Zuck. So he's.
Tolly.
No, we lost him
on 28 the next year, and then it's down to 5.
Okay,
we missed 80% of that.
I think like 27, 28, and then down to 5. No, we lost you.
We lost you for a second. Yeah, but I think it's
at 35 next year, then 28.
Okay.
I think it's
really expensive.
Their best option to move him on, and I think he deserves to go for a winner. I mean, the Lions are not set up to win, and they haven't been for a long time. So why not reset? Go out there. You're going to have a top pick. Maybe go get a quarterback. Maybe go try to trade for somebody.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, you could probably rebuild that defense, but I mean, the Lions still have good pieces there. That's
what they thought they were doing the last 3 years.
Yeah, but look at that offense though. T.J. Hawkinson, Kenny Galladay,
they're so good. They're so talented.
There's talent all over,
man.
Yeah, Jeff Okudah. I mean, there's talent all over that field. It's just
they need to draft like 90 linemen, though.
I think I honestly do. No offense to Matt Stafford, but I think Matt Stafford needs a change of scenery. You go in, get a young quarterback that you can plug in there with a new head coach, and see what happens. Like I don't think the Lions are that far off from being, a potential wild card team if they got the right quarterback and if they got the right coach there.
God, that's what you want to hear as a fan. They're a possible wild card team if they make a million moves.
Well, they're not gonna. I don't think they're competing with Green Bay anytime soon. And I think maybe a couple tweaks in Chicago on their offense, and they can get the ship. Chicago's in a very similar scenario too. Excellent offense, a lot of weapons. Quarterback dud.
What are you talking about? Their offense sucks ass.
The Lions have better offense.
They have? They have Allen Robinson. They have David Montgomery. No, David Montgomery's good. Don't tell me David Montgomery's not a decent running back.
What's he done besides last week? 145-yard run
on the Packers.
They don't utilize them. All these things have to come together. But yeah, they need a quarterback badly too. Mitch Trubisky ain't
starting. Hey, Mitch is back, baby. He's back. Here we go.
Mitch Trubisky ain't the answer.
I don't know if I'm the only one. Like he obviously cannot handle the NFL, but he looks like he's got a decent amount of athleticism. Like when he does play action, he's like, I think he's gonna make a fucking great play, and then he just doesn't.
Yeah, you always think it.
You know what I mean?
You always think even as a Packers fan, like he gets out of the pocket, I'm like, oh no.
That man cannot hit the broadside of a fucking barn.
But like he moves, he's got the athleticism, but once he throws it, it's just you have to kind of throw as a quarterback, so it's a little important. But he rolls out, it looks like he's going to be like the best quarterback of all time. And then once it gets out of his hands, you don't know where the fuck it's going to go.
Quarterback accuracy in this league this year has been absolutely atrocious. Top to bottom, too. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers has had some nice balls. Russell Wilson has some nice balls, but there are picks left and right. You got the top quarterbacks that are throwing picks. You got the bottom half of the quarterbacks that are throwing picks, and you got Baker Mayfield who can't hit a blind target in the end zone. I mean, you guy could be standing right in front of him, throw it 10 feet over his head. The accuracy is just abysmal, and maybe it's lack of prep time. I don't know, but quarterbacks cannot find their receivers this year. Kyler's about the only one that's been, regularly hitting his wide receivers.
So TJ, I mainly wanted to get your take on this, like from the Lions' perspective on Stafford. Obviously, I think most of the fan base is it's going to be kind of sad seeing him go, but I think it's kind of, I liken it to when my White Sox traded Chris Sale, like it needed to happen, and you can still get obviously some value for him. So what do you like? Would you try to sign a quarterback? Would you try to draft a guy? What do you think about the coaching situation? Would you hire an offensive guy? Would you take another stab at defense? Like where are you at as a Lions fan?
I think they have enough veterans on defense to get away with having a subpar defense. It's just their offense is so inconsistent because of play calling. I mean, they have weapons there, but they need a change. And, it's going to hurt to see him go, but he's got to go. I mean, number one, I hope he goes for the sake of getting him a chance to win. Because like Nick said, like we've all said, the Lions, we say they suck. They're a mediocre team. They have a chance to go 8-8, 9-7 every year. That's it. That's all they're going to do. So the way you reset it is you got to come up with something different. As far as besides the draft, I haven't really locked in on a lot of the guys available that the Lions could get, like past Trevor Lawrence, who's not going to be there.
I'll tell you the top four. And you'll recognize all of them, TJ. It's Trevor Lawrence, the kid from Ohio State, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, the guy from same school as Carson Wentz, and Zach Wilson from BYU. Those are like the main four, I think.
So you think they could have a shot at one of those guys? And
where are they picking right now?
Oh God, it's got to be 7 or 8. I think
they'll have a chance. To get.
It depends how far they go back, but you're right. It depends how much they like each guy. If they try to trade up, or if they like a guy like I hate to say it, I really really hate to say this, but like Sam Darnold. If they sit there and think a guy like Darnold should be available, I hate Sam Darnold. But you think the Jets are at a point where they need to figure something out? They probably don't think Darnold.
They're drafting Trevor Lawrence, so they got to do something with Sam Darnold.
That's what I'm saying. So if
he's either
Darnold's
going to
be a backup, he might become Detroit opportunity. I don't know. I don't know what the right idea is. But
if the Lions traded Stafford, I would say top 3 destinations are Indianapolis, New Orleans, and Indianapolis,
49ers.
New Orleans, and in Detroit. 49ers are still got with Jimmy.
You want to hear a crazy dream scenario?
Are we talking about Stafford? I thought we were talking about Stafford.
No, I was saying if they move Stafford, top 3 destinations for Sam Darnold, he's either going to Indianapolis.
Okay.
I think he's going to Indianapolis.
I think Stafford and San Fran would be really interesting.
I think Stafford in San Fran would be good. But Jimmy Garoppolo, you don't think that's...
I don't think that they're in love with him. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets moved. I don't think he's going to. Like, I think at the end of the day, San Fran's just going to stay pat.
He took him to a Super Bowl. Their defense.
Yeah, he did, and he played well. Like, let's give him some credit. Everybody slanders Jimmy too on Sundays, but
they've been just ravaged with injuries this year.
He's been hurt this year. Yeah, I just think that I don't think that his style of play though aligns with how Kyle wants to run the offense at all. I think it's like oil and water too.
You want to talk about freaking weapons too? There, they got Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, and 4 running backs.
They have a pretty good line. I think Stafford, like Matt Ryan, could just be lethal in the zone run offense.
I think they're going to stick with them. What do you think? I don't know about this one. Probably not. But what do you think about the Saints after Drew's gone?
Stafford to the Saints.
Yeah. I don't know about Taysom Hill.
I wouldn't hate it. I mean, I'd like that.
It's kind of interesting. Like Drew's going to be gone,
but it's going to be. Sean Payton doesn't strike me as somebody who like would see Stafford and say, "Oh, I want that guy."
How much does Drew have left on his contract? Think he's retiring at the end of the year?
He's gone after this year. He's going to be calling Sunday Night Football on NBC.
Yeah, no, next year he's got Notre Dame football. The following year is Sunday Night Football.
So you got
that. Right.
They're not going to trade him to an NFC North team. Another team that's interesting to throw around is Dallas because of the Dak Prescott situation.
Don't you think they're going to re-sign him now though?
It's the right thing to do, but if there's any asshole that won't sign
Jerry Dak Prescott, fuck you.
It's Jerry Jones.
It's Jerry.
Yeah, that's right. With Dick, the guy like almost gets
that would be such
ruined. It's Jerry Jones.
Matt Stafford would be such a Dallas quarterback too. Like that just seems right.
I think he win him a Super Bowl. I do.
If Matt Stafford's in Dallas, you think they win the Super Bowl?
Yep, I do. I really do. I think
they can win one with
I think they got to fix their defense first, though.
Well, they can't win one with McCarthy, though. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, they need a clean house in that coaching staff already. It's early, but yeah, McCarthy was not it.
Zook, you know my dream scenario now that all this Carson Wentz stuff's going on is that they try to get rid of all the money. Detroit Lions get Carson Wentz. I
would love for my fantasy sake for Carson Wentz to go somewhere else. Please.
Dude, I always about this time of year, I always get a football chubby thinking of like all the movement, like
random
Jimmy G could go to Chicago. They don't really like him, and Carson Wentz could go somewhere else, and Stafford could go somewhere else.
How about Carson Wentz in Chicago too?
And Darnold could go somewhere else. I would not love it if Carson Wentz went.
I got it.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Stafford in New England.
Bill would love that.
Bill might
the
get
thing is, we're talking first round picks. Bill ain't giving up a first.
Yeah, I think Bill's got too many other problems that they have to fix there in New England before they would go out and acquire another quarterback.
But they got a big salary cap issue there that they got to get.
Speaking of which, I was going to say they have a huge cap issue. What does Cam do after this? Because New England's not rolling it back with Cam.
He's going to be a backup. He's going to collect his money and then retire. I think he'll get some backup role somewhere.
Cam and Indy. Ooh.
Cam is not starting. There's no way any of the 32 franchises, maybe the Jags, could
if
start Cam.
The Colts might as well roll out Jacoby Brissett rather than sign Cam Newton.
I don't understand why they haven't made the move to Jacoby yet. Like Jacoby is freaking.
Jacoby started all year last year.
Rivers is going to start the entire season, and they're going to lose first round of the playoffs.
Every key down at goal line stand, Jacoby's in there. Phil ain't running no QB sneaks. Fuck that.
Yeah, don't you think it's hilarious how like home? I think it's like Big Cat. I was listening to their podcast and he made the joke. He's like, it's funny how they just start sneaking Jacoby Brissett in just a little bit more each week. He's like, it started as just the Hail Mary. Now they're doing zone read stuff, and eventually it's just gonna be like Jacoby just plays the whole game.
Get the fuck out of here, Phil.
Their defense is so good, though. I feel so bad for their defense because their defense is so good.
They're elite,
putting up numbers.
Rocket Steen, love that guy.
It just shows you how inconsistent this year is in the NFL. It's crazy. Yes. This is obviously the most inconsistent year I've ever had in my lifetime. The only team, again, I'll say is the Chiefs. But then, I mean, they almost gave it up. late. I mean, they were killing the Bucks,
Mhm.
and then like let Tom Brady do his thing, and didn't have Tyreek Hill really in the second half at all, and that was it. But you name and when you watch the Steelers tonight too against McSorley,
They play to their competition.
Yeah, they didn't play that well either.
Yeah.
They're not that great. So
I think we're all in
know.
agreement that the Steelers are the second best team, at least in the AFC still.
Oh, they're still up there
Third.
just because their defense.
No, I mean like we're all in agreement they're not the best team.
Yeah,
They're
yes.
not the best. No,
Steelers are. Yeah, I mean, I think Pittsburgh runs the risk of being bounced in the first round of the playoffs. Like they will run into a buzzsaw when playoff time comes, and these teams are well prepared. Their defense is good, and they have many offensive weapons. I said Chase Claypool has saved their. Chase Claypool is the reason that they are 10-0. That they are 11-0 now. 12-0. What are they now?
11-0.
11-0.
11. I think they're 11.
I think it's 11. But Chase Claypool, I mean, without him, he's the guy that is now what Antonio Brown used to be. He's out there making these plays all over the field, and if he's not scoring all these touchdowns, I just don't see how the Steelers are undefeated.
By the way, just a quick shout out for fantasy to me for the nice pickup of the Carolina Panthers defense. Got me 18 points. Got me a win. I won by 6.
Ew.
So big doings there.
I've already clinched my playoff spot, and now it's only about the seeding at this point.
Yeah, I was gonna say I told you guys off the air about my tight matchup. I'm now 10-2, boys. 10-2 in fantasy.
I'm 9-3.
I'm 7-5.
I got walloped
like
this week by
everybody's within a game of each other, like 7-5.
Derrick Henry, Younghoe Koo, and
Young what?
Younghoe Koo.
No,
It's not his name.
yeah,
It is.
Not on
It
this podcast.
actually is Younghoe Koo. It was funny because we were watching that and somebody said Younghoe Koo like on the broadcast, and Trent was like, "That's not how you say it." I'm like, "Yeah, it's actually how you pronounce it."
yeah, you say his name.
It is not Young-Ho.
It's because he's such a meme now that I think people actually
Dude,
forgot.
best kicker in the league. Best kicker in the league this year.
Yeah, I actually may have to put a little claim on him this week because he is not owned in our league right now.
Oh wow, hell yeah, get him. He's the
well,
best
I
kicker in
think
the
he
league.
kicked like 350 yarders. I think that's why he's up so much right now. But
Nick, you need to do a video every week and call like the kicker picker, and then you like pick the number one kicker of the week, and then you
Nick,
Kicker.
whether you wanted it or not, your brand now is kickers.
Yeah.
So.
Dude, I'm telling you, I
and
can
Pat
tell
McAfee.
you everything about the kickers out here. They're the difference makers. Not often are they the key factor, but that one week that Joey Sly was the key factor, he hit 5 field goals and covered the spread. So
I
Then
feel like
missed the
Pat
game
Rand
winner.
is a key factor one way or the other every week.
yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the fact that they won the game, lost the game winner. I'm talking about kickers covering the spread or not covering the spread. Kickers are the key.
I want an off-season video from you, like sports science, like breaking down like kicking and kickers and
We can do it. We can
who
do
the
it when
best
we did a
ones are.
kick, pass, and punt competition. We can also.
I'm Nick Yale, and this is Kicking Science. And I'm going to show you why Joey Sly can kick it 70 yards in the air in a dome.
Why
He
did
drinks
that guy
2
have that
beers.
extra broadcast voice? I never understood that. It's like, this is sports science. Like they do like a really like
This
big time pause.
is sports
Yeah.
science.
Sounded
It's
like a
sports
big-time
science.
nerd when you would talk about it, too. Maybe that was part of the thing.
It was part of the brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he would always like get with their little like statistics, like the ball is traveling at a high rate of speed at 54.7 miles an hour.
Like you don't fucking know that. You're just guessing.
So I did have one more topic though before we get to Thursday games. I
We don't
wanted
have
to talk
Thursday
about.
games, do we?
No.
Yeah,
Thursday
we got shafted out of that. Thanks a
We
lot.
We got
Baltimore.
2 on Monday and a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Thursday night football again.
So
Hey,
the last thing I wanted to talk about though was the Tua situation in Miami because he's up and down, and it feels like the staff doesn't trust him for whatever reason. And I love Brian Flores, and I think I believe in what they're doing down there. I think that they have a chance to be the team in the AFC East ahead of Nick's Bills, but I think they're screwing it up. And the Texans have won 3 of the last 4, which the Dolphins possess their first round pick. Watch out for Romeo Cornell on a bit of a heater. But that pick now is out of the top 10. They're not probably going to get a shot at one of the top 4 QBs that are going to go in that first round. And I don't understand why. Like, you still picked Tua 5. Like, I know you wanted Joe Burrow, but if you didn't like Tua, you shouldn't have taken him. And he's had some good games too. He's obviously not going to be, John Elway, who we talked about earlier in the show, like from game 1, and he's benched him for Fitzpatrick, and now he's injured, had the thumb thing this past weekend. And it feels to me like the Dolphins, at the very least, don't trust him. At the worst, they don't like him. And I just feel like I got red flags everywhere on that situation, and I don't know how it's going to play out or what they're going to do. I think they must have their eye on somebody in the draft, but how in the hell are they going to get up to get a guy?
They're going to use the Texans pick.
You know how mad
it's going to be out of the top 10 right now. They've won 3 out of 4 and totally screwed Miami.
They're so mad that Herbert's good that they passed.
They
on.
are.
Yeah.
They're so mad about that.
They're so bitter about it. And the thing is, like, Tua looked just as good, if not better than him, that one game that he was lighting it up. It's just they're different styles of quarterbacks. And say what you want about Justin Herbert. I know a lot of it is Chargers going to Charger, but they've lost like every game. So at the end of the day, Herbert's not winning.
He cannot close games. He might be putting up the stats and sure is probably going to be the front runner for offensive rookie of the year now that Joe Burrow's down. But
he's a beast. Don't get me wrong.
But when clutch time comes, you need a quarterback that can finish football games. I don't care how many. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That is true. And he was thrown in way before they probably planned on him due to Tyrod Taylor's injury.
Team doctor, what an asshole.
And I don't think you can. I think Justin Herbert far has exceeded expectations for this year, and you have to be okay with that. You kind of throw the possibility of losing those games out the window anyways, because you're in a division with Kansas City. Kansas City is going to win that one easy. So at best, you're getting a wild card team in an AFC that where some of those spots are filled. How many wild card teams are there? 4, 2, 3, 3 spots. So
used to be 2, but now it's 3.
But if you close out those games, you're a wild card team. You're not ahead of Kansas City, but you're a wild card team and you're in the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
I don't think you have the capability and personnel to make a deep run into the playoffs, but
a lot of that's Anthony Lynn.
Yeah, Anthony Lynn probably deserves to lose his job because he's the one that's blowing these games at the end.
Nick, that is a sick Bills quarter zip jacket, whatever you got on over there. I'm just now noticing it.
I think I got this from my brother.
Yeah.
Wonderful little present.
I mean, you are still just a complete traitor and Fairweathered fan, but it is a pretty slick jacket.
Yeah. You go from the Patriots to the Bills when the Patriots started sucking.
Tom's not on the Pats anymore. Go Bills.
I'm waiting until the Yankees officially do their first rebuild ever. And then he's like, oh yeah, I like the Red Sox. I forgot about that. Sorry.
He's gonna be a Blue Jays fan.
No, they already have. They've been rebuilding the couple years here.
Shut the fuck
2013
up,
through 2015 were all rebuild.
I don't want to fucking hear it. If you give someone $300 million, that is not a rebuild.
They were pretty bad though for a while, weren't they, Nick?
Yeah, 2013 through 2015 when we had Vernon Wells and Lyle Overbay and Jason Nix out there every day.
Finally, we've gotten to the baseball portion of the podcast.
Yeah, I got to run though.
I got a piece here too.
I have one trivia question before you guys go.
Yeah, all right. Let's get to the trivia and that'll wrap it up. We don't have picks to make, right?
Yeah, no picks.
Correct.
Okay.
For Sunday.
No picks.
Which NFL team has the least punt attempts per game right now?
Seattle Seahawks.
Packers.
This season.
They never punt.
I'll say Chiefs.
Seahawks.
The Carolina Panthers.
Damn.
Wow.
2.4 per game.
Wow.
2.4 per game. Nick, do you have all the teams there or just the Panthers?
I can get them. I know Buffalo was second.
I want to know where Green Bay's at because
2.5.
I see J.K. Scott like he's like a red herring. He's never on the field.
I should have just gone with Panthers because my guy Joey Sly.
That's your boy. Yeah.
They don't punt because he's kicking out. He's kicked 60-yard field goals. They don't need
5-yarders out there.
Fucking punt.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
He's hitting 80 yards.
I didn't understand. I wasn't big brain enough to understand the analogy.
He's hitting 80 yards in warm up.
Yeah.
I don't need a punt.
So Green Bay is 26. They're actually tied with Kansas City. 3 punts per game.
26th in terms of most punts.
Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah. I thought they punted like one of the most in the league.
No.
All right.
No.
Yeah, no, that sounds about right. All right.
Cool.
Well, that's cool. That was a much harder question. Are you going to get another one for us next weekend?
I'll try, yeah.
Are they going to all be pertinent to the 2020 season, or are we going to get some history?
I don't know. We'll just see what comes up.
Like slowly leave.
I had to go to the bathroom so bad. I'm just like, are we gonna wrap up?
No. Actually, I kind of want to milk this now because you had no problem giving me just a ton of shit when I had to go take a whiz on the midweek show, and there he goes. Couldn't even hold it.
It's funny too because you actually worked for the show.
He was the biggest.
You took your computer in.
Yeah. I had to be on the podcast. I was being a good podcaster, and he's not. He just bounced.
Yeah, see you later. Like a real guy would get on his phone, a second camera, pause the other one, and then get on it and go to the bathroom and
he joined back.
I want to now because you went to the bathroom on.
I was talking.
Did you
I was
pee
talking
that
big
quick?
shit about you for leaving.
No,
I was gonna say the quickest pee of all time.
No.
I guess in Nick's defense, his setup's pretty stationary here, so he can't exactly do what I did. So
the bathroom,
I guess
is right there. So
I guess it'll be nice, and we'll wrap up the show. Nick's got a whiz, TJ's got to go, so that'll do it for the From the 50 Midweek Show, presented by Book It Sports. For Nick Tolley, for TJ Weber, for Nick out in Reno, I'm Zach Zook. We'll see you guys on Sunday for Week 13.
Bye.